We'll see if they stick with the B. P's and B's pretty pleased as we get into our picks and bans here. Novus Orsa versus Last Minute Monsters. Novus Orsa, ShadowNightmare, and the crew on the left side with the first pick and the first ban, and it'll be Freya.
I think a lot of people are valuing Freya right now in terms of the bans because they realize how strong she can be with the pulse and the item changes as well. The only problem is I feel Freya really is going to need one of those high-pressure supports to go alongside her to allow her through the early game. And when people start to realize that, we may see this shift towards support bans and away from Freya a little bit more because Freya really relies on help in that lane to get her through the early stages.
I agree, Hindu. I think that Freya is perhaps a misplaced ban at the moment, but we'll see how it works out as Thoth and Ratatasker and Nike are banned alongside her.
Sylvanas, Hercules are two that are definitely dominant overall right now with how this is going.
AMC.
No.
All right, it's going to be Sussano.
Not AMC. Surprised about the Sussano pick so early. I mean, unless you think last-minute monsters are actually going to take that for themselves here, I don't think you have to take Sussano right now. You could have potentially looked for somebody else in your composition, unless you're looking to try and hide things later on, maybe. So
Sussano being first pick is probably not... I'm probably not going to say that very often, but I think Sussano is actually very, very powerful.
He's solid.
Fail showed him.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. He's a solid pick, Sussano, overall, but he's not something that the enemy's definitely going to draft, you know?
So, no.
The likes of Apollo, the likes of Khepri, something a little bit more dominant. I mean, surprised by Khepri over Sylvanas.
Yeah.
But I like the Khepri choice anyway, for the simple fact is there's no Thanatos on the side of Novus Orsa right now. Thanatos great against Khepri. It's one of the reasons you don't see Khepri too much. Recognizing that they've already picked up Sussano,
exactly.
Minute Monsters go, hey, let's take that Khepri because it's unlikely they're going to run and execute now.
FrostiaK has a Sussano and not a Thanatos, to my knowledge. So I think that's also one of the reasons that we see that come out. And Hercules will be next to Poseidon. Very excited here. If you're a ShadowNightmare fan at home, you understand that Poseidon is one of his absolute top gods. He doesn't really get to play him because Poseidon comes in and out of the meta quite frequently.
He does.
So now that he's interesting and of high value, ShadowNightmare should be very excited.
Now the Poseidon pick there for Novus as well is very smart because both Hercules and Sussano do struggle a little bit against Poseidon. Cripple important against both of those overall. Hercules can't drive and strike. His mobility is limited to get in range for the Earthbreakers. And at the same time, Sussano, he relies a lot on all his mobility. Cripple denies that, so picking Poseidon for themselves also strengthens them, as well as when you look at a Khepri who struggles against a Poseidon as well.
Fails had a fantastic game, but was curbed a little bit by the enemy's Poseidon earlier in the day, so that's certainly something to think about. Fafnir and Sylvanas banned out by last-minute monsters.
Frezzyy bans overall.
Yep.
They have left Ymir up, though. And Ymir is another one of Frezzy's go-tos overall. Great wave clears, I've already mentioned. We could see the Ymir picks up by Novus Orsa in response.
Yeah, I almost expected that we were going to see the Ymir jungle by last-minute monsters. Hestrix will opt for the Fenrir instead, though. A little bit more traditional. Novus Orsa, Neith, and I'm expecting the Ymir pick here as well, Hinduman.
Neith or Kobrakan are the real two that I can expect more than often than not here. No, it's going to be Hercules support then, and then Tyr in the solo lane. So Hercules support, I kind of mentioned it is a thing that can be run. Definitely on the side of Europe, where Europe is definitely the ones that love the Warriors more often than the North Americans.
You mentioned it. You were talking about Trix Tank before.
Yeah.
Got there, buddy.
I know. I was just saying, like, generally in the EU, they like to run the aggressive support. Sun Wukong, I expect, may see a rise as well in terms of the support role as time goes on.
It's possible. Ra will be the mid lane selection for last-minute monsters. Khepri and Apollo in the dual lane, Bellona in the short lane, Fenrir in the jungle, and Ra in the mid. So a lot of push coming out from the mid lane right away out of last-minute monsters to combat Poseidon's superior wave clear with the Whirlpool. Neith should be interesting. A lot of wave clear there as well.
And the Neith pick here is interesting for a couple of reasons. It allows to put pressure onto the mid lane and other lanes with that global world weaver, but it also does help them out as well with Frezzyy being in the dual lane. Hercules' wave clear isn't necessarily the strongest as a warrior, but what it does do is it does allow them to have that Neith to wave clear a little bit more effectively than some of the other hunters to weather the storm of the weakness of Hercules.
So FleuryQ is a player that we've seen here and there. He's played in the Challenger Cup a little bit, and we've seen him even in the Pro League. Just your 2 cents, Hindu. How have you liked FleuryQ, not just today, but what you've seen in the past?
FleuryQ's a dancer for the most part, and by dancer I mean he's one of these there's a few players like this who always skirt the edge of competitive play. Like, they're very consistent for the most part. They're good enough at the Challenger Cup level, but just getting that next step into the Pro League is always an issue.
Durgius, Man Ray,
there's a few. I mean, some of those more than others, definitely in terms of the scale of how it all works out with them.
Sure.
But yeah, FleuryQ is definitely one that's been around the scene for long enough now, seen enough players. And for the most part, in a weird way, when it's the Pro League, a lot of the players from the Pro League like to look at players that have been around a long time, first of all. Not just these new kids that show up and look good for 1 week, you know? They want to see you there for a year before they're like, hey, you know that FleuryQ kid? How about we try him? Instead of like, you know, the new kid that comes out the door, goes 10-0 in the placements and ends up above aggro. Like, that sort of thing's a bit different, you know? Like,
let's get in the game, folks.
You gotta wait.
Picks and bans are over, and the game is about to start. Relegations right here, right now. Novus Orsa, a team formerly known as Team Dignitas, with a couple of changes.
Now, the war flag
start. Monsters.
The war flag start here on Frezzyy is definitely interesting. I'm also interested by his choice in terms of consumables here as well. He's gone for the regeneration one, so the 3 heal pots, as well as the oracles for double wards. He's looking for a play mid early though with the driving strike. Sadly enough though, Hestrix noticed it, so he can't get it until too late. Yeah,
Hestrix is going to get hit a little bit, but
that's quite a lot actually.
Yeah, and actually that might impact the way that the teams go into the jungle. No aggression coming out of Novus Orsa, though. They'll just stick to the mid-harpies here. And while you mentioned the others, I'll mention the Relic. That's Sunder. Sunder's been very exciting here. Sunder's going to do some damage, but it's also going to amplify the damage the enemy takes by 15%, and you can upgrade that a second time all the way up to 30. So
are they going to lose this? I'm not sure who got that buff overall there. I think ShadowNightmare did lose the buff there to Half Devil and his lane mate there, Joshy. Like the call from Joshy and Half Devil there. But going back to what you were saying, yeah, I mean, the pressure in the early game with that Sunder.
Sunder, basically my point is, Sunder last season was kind of Polar Bear Mike's personal meme, and FrostiaK is Hestrix's personal feeding tube. First blood going the way of last-minute monsters. But Sunder, it's real.
Sunder is real at the moment, but how is the question? Hestrix takes a lot of damage from those archers. He's got to be careful there. He went for aggression there, expecting follow-up from Rebound, who didn't really have anything to follow up with there. Hestrix is going to be a little bit careful about his aggression there, because that could have come back to haunt him if he would have stuck in there a little bit longer. If Ducky had a Fearless up there, that was dangerous. Or a Power Cleave. Even a Power Cleave would have been enough to kill him.
The Power Cleave would have been problematic. FrostiaK showing from behind. Hestrix in trouble, dashing away. Not enough follow-up, only level 2.
So the reason Hestrix survives there is because of the Bomber's mask proc, thanks to Rebound giving him the proc overall. But he's going to walk into ShadowNightmare, he's going to clean that one up. But there's a key of how he survived is a Bomber's mask. You've got to give the last hits to your jungler if they've got Bombers, otherwise they're going to be in trouble.
So that means FrostiaK goes ahead and picks up an assist for himself. Frezzyy is caught and knocked up, and he's dead. Farrakrik gets the kill. 2 in total for last-minute monsters.
This is a fiesta of kills just all over the map, and people being slightly out of position. No rotations are being called from everybody. That's the issue. No one's communicating of like, hey, who's rotating where? Is duo lane missing? Are we missing the support? Where's the solo laner right now? And people are getting picked off left, right, and center because of that in less than 3 minutes.
And what did we say at the beginning of game number 1 here? Was that communication is of the utmost importance in these early stages.
Definitely, and it's especially because everyone's still learning what's going on, where people should be. You don't know what the jungle path is right now, so if the jungler is missing, you have to think about all the possibilities of where he could actually be at the moment and realize that one of them could be in the back of your head.
3-on-3 here in the mid lane. Frezzyy trying to find the spacing for that Earthbreaker knockup. But last-minute monster is going to shade into the right side jungle, pick up the gremlins, and here will be some opposition from Novus Orsa.
There's going to be a big fight. Eagle's Rally as well used to try and secure that info overall. Bludgeon good onto Ducky, but Ducky returns on Hestrix.
Power Cleave, saved by the support.
Smite, though.
Rock comes right on through in the middle. There's a Neith assist, but a good catch by Half Devil.
FrostiaK did so much work in that fight. The snipe deterred Novus from continuing. Not only that, but he then body blocks the shot of the World Weaver onto Rebound to make sure he doesn't lose there. The Raw made big plays then, even though it didn't look like it.
What an awkward fight, though, Grab. I mean, obviously they're fighting over to that camp by the Fire Giant, but it seems like a small objective to invest so much into.
It is, but at the same time, if you get that, you could potentially go for the speed buffs, which were both spawning as well if you win a big fight there. Gold Fury is also a thing as time goes on, you know? Like, getting those early leads are important, and what that was Novus, more often than not, looking to try and set something up with their global ultimates. He had Poseidon ult available and the World Weaver, look for a combo. Last-minute monsters, though, they use ults to secure rather than engage.
Exactly, and that's why they wound up with the upper hand. Novus Orsa right now, just go back to the farm game. They realize that they're not the early team that last-minute monsters is. Hestrix by himself can pretty much exert a lot of the pressure, and then Ra in that mid lane is going to make sure that his His wave just doesn't exist. So you're going to have a lot of pressure outside of the right side of your screen.
You talk about pressure from Hestrix, though. He's got to be careful because he's trying to put the pressure on, but he's getting caught out a little bit too much here and there. Here's an engage on Ducky early on, but too telegraphed as well. Obviously, Eagles rally, and Ducky knows what's up if you're going to randomly Eagles rally him in the lane. Someone's coming to gank me.
Exactly, and the CC immunity on the Lawbringer allows him to escape no problem. FrostiaK making his way over here to the right side of the map, as is Hestrix staying local, looking for the kill onto Tier, finds a jump.
But right
left side, Neith is going to get caught as well. FleuryQ pulls, but there's the Kraken, and FrostiaK gets the kill on a rebound. Jumping away is Hestrix. Frezzyy can't find the knockup, and the dog is safe. It's 3-2-2.
And this is Novus just playing around what last-minute monsters are doing. Last-minute monsters, they go aggressive, look to invade a blue. No calls again about where the rotations are coming from, so Rebound gets punished after already using the Eagles rally for a pick.
Yeah.
Well, if you do that to Bellona, you've got to be careful about your position, especially when Krakens are always available.
Frezzyy now locked in the mid lane, trying to find a way out. Gets a nice little dance around the support and gets the kick, but not going to be enough.
Frezzy's showing his experience in the Hercules of just holding the driving strike. By not CCing people, sometimes you are crowd controlling them anyway, because they've got to be aware about the positioning, the direction they're facing, making sure that Frezzyy doesn't get behind them, because if he does, he'll do exactly what he did there.
Yeah, he's a good character when it comes to sort of sheep herding. Dougie's in trouble this time around, not going to find the escape, and Hestrix gets the kill. It's his second of the contest, 2-1-0.
Still very much a fiesta this game. You saw Ducky going in there on his own without Lawbringer looking to try and make something happen. He steals the blue, but then he loses a whole wave of experience to the tower on the right-hand side, potentially even two with his respawn time and his teleport being down as well, and then proxy farming the wave. Now this actually gives the last-minute monsters an opportunity to pressure the Gold Fury, because right-hand side is pressured for two waves, mid lane has just been pressured before Poseidon. Hercules can get there now. They could look to set something up there, or even towards the Gold Fury if they choose.
FrostiaK wraps around from the backside, realizing that he just needs to protect this tower. Not really looking for anything beyond that, just safety. FleuryQ, just getting cheeky.
Doing his classic Amelito impression, that's it. He's doing his best Amelito impression. They're just showing off the World Weaver again. Obviously, you need to channel it for the more damage and stun, more often than not, that comes into play, which is very, very important for them there. But it's all about farming in the early stages.
Oh, nice push. Half Devil gets stuck, and he's controlled. Fast enough to ult himself, but still might be in trouble. Dashes away. Frezzyy finds the hit.
Sunder.
Hestrix takes the hit out of the long lane, and FrostiaK with the last attack on a Hestrix.
You mentioned the Sunder earlier on, and that's where the Sunder came into play from Frezzyy there. It looked like he just autoed the air, but no, the Sunder fired off, and to his doom fell Half Devil. Committed a lot for Half Devil on the pick there overall. It was Earthbreaker, Relic, and the Kraken ultimate to kill Half Devil's Khepri, but kills in the early stages are useful for just reducing the level they're going to have as the game goes on.
And I don't mind that, because it also opens FrostiaK up to going ahead and getting the invade out successfully. Getting those kills mean that there's nobody guarding the jungle, so.
No, exactly. Nobody got in the jungle for allow for the speed, and even potentially a blue buff invaded a little later on. But now last minute monsters, they're going to start the Gold Fury here. Frezzy's on his way on the Hercules, though, going to spot this one out early. I don't think they can really force this. They might be able to, though, knowing two ultimates are on cooldown for the side of Novus.
Yeah, I mean, Frezzyy doesn't have a hog. He's going to be a tough spot here to
That was a
really
great play.
this.
Like, Frezzyy may die for this, but I love what he did to try and set that up. Gold Fury goes the way of last-minute monsters. Half Devil in trouble, so is Frezzyy one hit from death, but he will survive. Half Devil on the backside, though. FrostiaK will clean him up and get away scot-free.
I'm still looking for more. It's going to be ShadowNightmare and FleuryQ, but one shot on a FrostiaK, and everybody turns tail and runs. That Ra's doing a lot of damage. Ultimate out of the Ra to save himself for the moment. Fearless into the power cleave, into the Kraken, into the death. He's toasted. FleuryQ gets the credit. 6 kills in total for Novus Orsa.
And Novus really come out on top of that if they can pressure this mid lane on top of that fight as well. Red buff stolen, Ra dies, minions lost in the mid as well. Right harpies are available, blue buff about to spawn too. This is pretty okay for Novus there. A lot of that play though came from Frezzyy. It didn't look like it, but Frezzyy looked like a lunatic. But he knew what he was doing exactly. He drive and striked Half Devil back into the Gold Fury pit to keep the Gold Fury leashed, but also to increase the damage he did.
Oracles go down. Looks like they were split right there. That's
Frezzy's
why
dead.
neither team goes ahead and gets vision. And Frezzyy can't see anything because he's dead. Joshy on the good side.
Yeah, easy one to pick up there. Use the boulder for a bit of CC immunity, but Minute Monsters do answer back nicely there after the mistakes they made around that gold fury. Yeah, they secured that one, but they were looking to evade the purple. I said they answered back for the mistakes, but FleuryQ just said, no, not today, boys.
Yeah, he's just going to sit there, and on the Neith, he doesn't have to ever really give up his tower. He can just sit there and fire Spirit Arrow away.
Neith is fantastic for this. Well, weaver to the right-hand side, which means there's pressure in the solo.
And Rebound's going to go ahead and avoid it. Perfectly timed Eagles rally. That's tough to do.
It's knowing how long the travel time is and where Neith is in lane is the key to that one. Because if you don't know, if Neith was in mid lane there, that World Weaver would have hit a little bit earlier. And Rebound would have been in trouble. I still don't think they would have killed him, however, just because Eagles Rally was available. But World Weaver in trade for an Eagles Rally, I am down for that as long as FleuryQ stays safe.
I'll take that one. FleuryQ gonna dance away. Use the beats. That's a win for Minute Monsters.
Good work from Half Devil there. I was just saying, like, if he doesn't get punished for using the World Weaver, now they're looking to punish Rebound on the other side, though, Novus, knowing he's got no Eagles Rally. Thanks to the play earlier on, Ducky gonna Lawbringer in place. The bite is available for Hestrix, and Ducky's going on a wild ride.
He's gonna be stuck under that tower. Nice little heal from the Power Cleave. The Fearless, it makes him make a move, but not enough to really secure the deal.
Still a messy fight, although the portal does go the way of Novus there. Half Devil looking to contest Frezzyy and ShadowNightmare, realizing that that demon at the start isn't that tanky at the beginning when it spawns, and abusing that to get a little bit more gold and allow the likes of FrostiaK, who's in base right now, to pull all the way back to mid.
All things tied up here pretty much at the 11-minute mark. 7 kills to 5 for Novus Orsa versus last-minute Monsters. But as we said, the gold virtually the same, 36 give or take on the side of Novus Orsa. That's pretty much as tied as you can get.
I do like the build coming out from FleuryQ as well. We've seen a lot of people talking about the crit build available to the Hunters with the Poison Star and Wind Demon. There is 3 or 4 different builds. I was talking to Barracuda earlier this week. He said there's about 3 or 4 different builds for different situations, for different Hunters. So it does show that there's more viability to the Hunters overall. Not just one build is core, and that means only the Hunters that can play this build can be played.
Well, you've always had the separation between the basic attack Hunters, Apollo, and the ability-based Hunters, Neith. And that transcendence is certainly the core mark of a ability-based hunter. You're looking for the pure power and a little bit of the mana.
For sure, and that mana will come into play for the World Weavers as well to do more power. But Hestrix caught in an awkward position. He's going to fall as red buff stolen again by ShadowNightmare and the boys of Novus Orsa. The gold difference isn't that much, though.
Oh my god. Sometimes I just want to close my eyes during these engagements, man.
They're messy. They're very, very messy between the two teams now. It's communication, once again. And
exactly.
This is what you kind of expect after the start of a season, though, is that people don't realize how important knowing where the jungler is compared to the end of Season 3. End of Season 3, you're like, hey, the jungler's missing at 3 minutes in. Oh, he'll be at his speed buff, you know?
Yep, you know.
Oh, he's missing at 5 minutes in. Oh, he'll probably be near that red buff.
Frezzyy misses everything, sends the relic into a sanctuary, and then tosses the ultimate over the head of Joshi, but takes Farrakrick's ultimate to
Apollo
the face.
in the sky, though. Joshi's looking about going back in on this. Driving Strike is going to be available. He should have realized that, could have committed differently. Will clear it so beautiful. However, Fleury could look to turn that, change his mind. Doesn't realize, I don't think, that Joshi was completely out of mana there.
Yeah, Joshi can't find the basics. Still going to be good enough for the moment. FrostiaK running away from the big dog. He'll be fine, joining up with the rest of his team in the mid lane.
And now the weight is really on for the Gold Fury again for both teams. Obviously, Novus with a small lead at the moment. They get the next Gold Fury. It puts themselves in a pretty commanding lead overall. As you look at the experience difference between the two teams, it's definitely experience that is more telling than the gold right now with the level disparities.
Yeah, at the moment, that's really what you're looking at. 3,800 experience and just a hair of gold. And if actually you take a look at the levels, that's probably even better than just the
experience graph. Yeah, you can just see it clearly.
The biggest deal is the jungle Hindu man. 14 to 11. FrostiaK is out of control.
And that's one of the reasons, I guess, they've drafted a Sussano first pick. You know, it's a bit suspect to me, because why are they going to do that? But
that's what I'm saying.
You're giving Frosty something that they can carry on. Frosty's one of those guys that if he turns up, he really does turn up. It's just not constant. It's not consistent how much he does arrive to this point.
Exactly. That's the biggest problem, is that he's not consistent. And in a tournament series like this, consistency is very key, because you're looking for those constant wins. You're only getting a game at a time. You don't have a chance to make a mistake and then battle back up to game 3. So Frezzyy right here, this is exactly what Novus Orsa needs to needs to wish for it every game they play.
And you can see how far hi-rez was struggling in this game because he went for the Vanguard after boots, full warrior tabby.
Right.
He needed a little bit more survivability, it felt like. But by doing that, it also slows down the rest of his build, which means it reduces the damage he's doing. And once again, he's going to get driving struck into danger, forced to purify away.
The flip was good. We got that Hendrix will walk
purified.
away without the
so
purification.
Annoying. It's beads, F-Dot, it's beads.
Oh well. Gold Fury.
I'm struggling too.
Started, leashed. Ultimate in a rock of no consequence. Frezzyy gets too far ahead of himself and dies, but ShadowNightmare makes it back for him. Ultimate out of the solo Bellona, not going to be good enough. FrostiaK still in trouble.
But Frostie's going to be okay for now because across the skies goes the wrong direction and the double jukes to get out of there. Now Ducky arrives in the backside though, allowing FleuryQ to get off some free damage as well. All onto Rebound, which isn't the real priority target they'd like, but it was the only one that presented itself. For one, support for jungle.
Gold Fury started up again by Last Minute Monsters. Novus Orsa staying local, but watching the objective go down to about
big
half HP.
ultimates here available. Only Lawbringer is the only thing that can look to try and confirm this one overall. So Novus here dancing around it, not looking for a full fight. They're just looking to deter Last Minute Monsters from continuing it.
Last Minute Monsters would be really happy with the pick here, but they just can't find it. Novus Orsa a little bit too slippery.
And now everyone's going to fall back because they realize, okay, everyone's respawned again. All ultimates are down. We can't really do this. We wasted a few things there in terms of abilities. Relics, however, different story. Not as many invested last time around. Frezzy's too far forward here. He's got to be careful.
Yeah, Frezzyy might get in trouble like he did the last time, but he's able to walk it off, as the character would say.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, he's got to be careful with the driving strikes. The driving strikes are key. Playing the Hercules of when you're doing them defensively, offensively, and timing them correctly as well. Because if you driving strike too early to avoid an engagement, the engagement may not have even started in yet, and you don't realize it until you've already used your only mobility option.
I mean, we also look at supports to really set up and engage and become some of our initiators. And if you're going to be missing that driving strike, unfortunately, that's going to be an issue. So Frezzyy, I like the way he's been playing this Hercules so far, but I need to see just more of it.
Yeah, I mean, he did go to the finals of the World Championships. He's got a lot of tenure under his belt for that. I still don't agree with the build choices, though, overall. And this is one of the reasons that Novus also are going to slow down in terms of continuing to grow.
Boots in the shield on the Herc?
Yeah, because he's a support. He's not playing solo lane in this game. Like, you need sovereignty. You need to look at Heartward Amulet. They give, you know, the extra protections for your team as well. They help them to survive these engagements a little bit more. He's gone for a personal choice, which is something that, you know, we've seen time and time again from supports, but it always defaults back to Aura as a king.
Last Minute Monsters picking up the Gold Fury. Not really much of a defense here. Frezzyy shows up, throws the boulder. Looks like it was stolen. Novus Orsa gets the kill on the objective. Gold Fury to the blue team.
And so Frezzyy falls again, but he gets the Gold Fury. Very important. He may be 1-5, but he's making big, important plays for the team overall that are allowing them to stay in the lead, even if he's not the one carrying the team.
Half Devil gets his magic. Half Devil helps himself out with an ultimate and a relic, and here's the turnaround just waiting. FrostiaK picks up some of the kills. ShadowNightmare credit.
ShadowNightmare did very well and holding the Whirlpool on purpose for when the pop of Khepri's ultimate comes off. Make sure he can't abduct back to safety or anyone can get there to body block or even peel for him overall. Beautiful little play there coming out from ShadowNightmare. Just the small things that don't sometimes go noticed about holding abilities sometimes is so much more useful than just spamming them to get the damage on as quick as possible.
Well, you sort of mentioned this before with Frezzyy.
Yeah.
Sometimes the threat of crowd control is just as strong as the crowd control itself, and having that threat of the ability by holding on to it is very important. If Frezzy's walking around you and has his driving strike up, you immediately have some of your options.
And you got to watch out for that. Now, it's a good play coming out from Frezzyy there. He gets some decent damage off onto Farah, but the problem is that he had no real backup. I love the fact Farah didn't panic there. He didn't beads or worry about things. He's like, all right, yeah, I got misplaced, but it's okay. I'm going to live through this. And meanwhile, Rebound, he's going to have to be careful.
Yeah, there's a Fearless into the wall. Rebound in some trouble. There's Fearless, power cleave over the top. Bang, goes to slam. Not enough to get the kill. Meditation saves the life of the solo laner for the moment, but ShadowNightmare gives him the drowning. Good
rotations from ShadowNightmare again. He's really showing the power of Poseidon when he's on his game as well. With Fatalis as well in that build, gives him extra mobility to be able to chase down and continue applying the pressure.
Asterix flipped, kicked, and sent back to the graveyard. Frezzyy On the good side of it, 2, 5, and 4 for the young support player. Bad luck 13 in the kill column for Novus Orsa. And I think the biggest point here about the Fatalis that I want to make here is that it now has 10 penetration on it. So Fatalis before was simply just for the passive and the attack speed, but now there's a legitimate, reasonable stat on it for the Poseidon.
This is just juggles for days coming out from the team of Novus Orsa, though. Take away FrostiaK and put an Wheelix in there, you've got an even additional threat if you wanted to. With the Fearless that's going to knock you up, you've got ShadowNightmare's ultimate, which knocks you with the Kraken. Tidal Wave pushes you back, and then Frezzyy's Earthbreaker as well. There's a lot of things to display. Stone of Gaia could be an option, but I don't know if we're going to get that deep yet.
I'm not too sure about that. Joshy here going to pick up the tier 2 tower as well. So a nice even trade as far as the left lane and the right lane is concerned for Novus and Last Minute Monsters.
Not really even though overall. I mean, left side for the right-hand side and middle lanes. I'm not sure if that's really the best decision overall, but he does put Joshy in a good enough position. And give credit where it's due. He's 3-0 and 2 on this team that are at a big deficit here.
Right.
His level is pretty much equal to FleuryQ, who's going for a penetration build overall here now, whereas he is getting to that late game Apollo status now. 2 crit items now online. Looks like he's working towards the Executioner or Chins next.
Executioner.
More than likely Executioner. If you're not worried about health builds, you head for the Executioner. Now Chins is still somewhere in the viable option, but it's not something you definitely have to invest into right now.
And really, I feel like Chins is a specific item. If you're going against a team full of tanks, that's when you really want to buy the Chins.
Which, to be fair, against a Hercules is pretty damn good when he's built health and, you know, regeneration. Chop him down, but Frezzyy, well, he's going to get chopped down himself right now. They full combo him to pick up the kill, but it's a trade for a Fire Giant.
It's all about the zone here. Rebound jumps forward, try to get the stun, gets it on the ShadowNightmare. Has to turn around. FrostiaK provides a little bit of peel. And right now, Novus Orsa just looking to get out. There's the Kraken. Nowhere near any life bars.
Kraken worked out fine, though, just because it zoned him away from continuing the pressure. The bad news was the pressure was all onto Ducky, who also went over the wall with Lawbringer. If he would have just carried on running towards Kraken, could have been a different story there, and they could have cleaned up the whole team of Last Minute Monsters. But Fire Giants and Novus, however, Last Minute Monsters could get 2 towers here.
Last Minute Monsters, this window, is this because of the Miss Kraken? Where is this opportunity coming from?
More just one person being dead than not, and then them trying to fall back. If you start falling back and using ultimates defensively, then the other team's going to try and recognize that and abuse it, especially with a Ra.
Here's the counter engage coming out from Novus Orsa. Not enough, so they're biding their time. Trying to be careful. Blinking forward is FrostiaK, still biding
Gem
time.
of Isolation is just wrecking half of Devil.
Fearless power cleave. Half Devil saves his own life for the moment. And he's done.
And the key is there. ShadowNightmare's got Gem of Isolation and the Fatalis as well. Those things are slowing Half Devil down and speeding him up to continue the slow over and over again. And Half Devil can't get away, so one by one, they fall down.
Frezzyy had to ult there.
Had to.
FrostiaK was in arm's reach, and there was a Neith ultimate coming.
Frosty's got enough kills, though. Like, Frezzyy needed to sort his scoreline out a little bit. Everyone would have been like, 1-6 Hercules, lol, what a troll, he's so bad.
He's 2-6.
When really, now he's 2-6, so that's why he threw the boulder. He was looking for the kill, you see. He's got to get the scoreline a little bit better. You got to take that to because he played a damage done as well during this game. I just want to see how the damage is coming up. I'm expecting to see ShadowNightmare and FrostiaK near the top on the damage charts.
It's going to be Frost. Oh, no, that's net worth.
There we go. Yep. As expected.
And where is your Hercules?
Hercules isn't necessarily for the damage, though. The control is the thing, and the bait. The bait is the key. We talk about
it's the bait.
The bait is important. Frezzy's there to. If you notice what happened to the Fire Giant, he does a full combo, right? Full combo, 8 a raw ultimate 2, died for it, but he's seen the Fire Giant. That's a win.
No, yeah, that's a win. That's a win. I'll give that to you. I will give that to you. I will certainly give that to you.
But Hestrix very, very far down at 7k on the player damage charts there as well, below tier. And also Raw. Far has not managed to get too much off in terms of damage this game. Had to play very defensive, especially with, you know, Krakens for days and all the juggle effects and CC chains that are available.
The problem here is just that the Fenrir is not going to translate into the late game, Graham. And that's really problematic.
He can in certain circumstances, but not in this one. Against cripples, against juggle effects that are over and over again, and that he's gone full damage here. If he would have gone tanky, he might have had an opportunity, but the investment into further damage as the game's gone on has not allowed them to be in a decent spot.
That's exactly what I'm referencing, is the fact that this Fenrir, if he wants to be this type of player, he needs to go ahead and sort of celebrate the late game. Hestrix picks up the kill on the ShadowNightmare.
Surprised ShadowNightmare was that far out of position without his team being there. No ward coverage to keep an eye on what was going on. Just a little bit too far forward. He'd already used beads in the engagement there to try and keep himself alive. But what did last minute monsters do? They get a win and they fall back instead of recognizing there was objectives to take, and so they lose the teleporter, which means now that Novus can just sit back and wait for Shadow to respawn.
Novus Orsa has made a plethora of mistakes, but they've just been allowed to succeed despite them.
The crit damage from FleuryQ there, just 488 onto Rebound's face from that one auto. With a Deathbringer build coming out from it as well. Interesting choice there overall. Obviously, Neith not really focused on for auto attacks, but, you know, Deathbringer, if it crits, it's going to do a lot of damage.
And it's also a fair amount of physical power anyway on top of it, so you definitely want to have that for your ability-based build, no matter what. Right side towers just go and crumble. But look at the Frezzyy coming from the backside, going to at least try to find a cheeky little stun.
Not gonna lie
just
though,
miss it.
this game is not looking good for these two teams in my eyes. They don't look great today. Last Minute Monsters and Novus, the teams are both making rookie mistakes, silly ideas, over-aggression, not grouping up, missing objectives. Just interesting decisions like this over and over again. Yeah, they're going to pick Half Devil potentially, but there is still a fight going on.
Well, there's the Khepri ultimate. Half Devil saves himself. Everybody else paying attention to Rebound.
And Rebound's dead. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, you also saw that Joshi ended up falling down as well, as FrostiaK was deep in enemy territory, causing problems once more. This was just Novus looking for a fight, realizing they had a big lead. That's it.
That's just a numbers game. There was nothing elegant about that. They just took the hammer and they hit the nail. They just said, hey, we have a 10,000 gold lead. Let's abuse it. Fire Giant coming up in a moment. Wipe the enemy team or close to it. Pick up the objective. If anybody comes near you, fight them.
And the big difference as well, when you look at the game, is Frezzyy versus Half Devil. When Half Devil's been picked, Novus have managed to steal objectives and go on with that. When Last Minute Monsters have picked off Frezzyy, it's Novus Orsa that have also got the objectives. So there's just a support game in the grand scheme of things.
I like how it bounces out. You're totally right there. 18-10. The kills in Novus Orsa's favor. Everything seems to be in their favor today, folks, as they're leading by 12,000 gold as well, as we hit 26 minutes exactly.
Now, we did see last game some rituals come into play for a little bit towards the end there. Callus did pick one up on the Sobek, but we didn't get to see him actually use it. But I'm going to be slightly more interested to see if at this stage, if this game continues at this pace, that we see some rituals coming out from the side of Novus, who have this gold lead here, being able to use the teleport to teammates potentially to get them back in a fruitful position for further engagements at these Phoenixes.
The Frenzy is the one that I'm looking for.
Oh, yeah.
You're looking for the teleport, but the Frenzy is the one that I'm looking for.
I'm looking at the Frezzyy, not the Frenzy right now. We're looking aggressive again. Big snipe from Farah came out. Kraken in response, though. Cleans up Half Devil. 1 for 1. Support for support.
ShadowNightmare able to go ahead and pick up one for that one. Last Minute Monsters not really willing to re-engage.
The reason they can't really I mean, to be fair, they should be looking to re-engage because they've got a few more things available to them. They're on the stronger side, but the problem is the level difference, IM difference is just too much, as well as the Fire Giant being on the side of Novus just dissuades them. All that Last Minute Monsters can do here is hold the Phoenixes and wait.
There's that relic you were talking about, or the ritual, excuse me, that you were talking about. 750 gold, and you can teleport to your teammate just like that. And Rebound pulled, and he's going to get snared, but not taken down.
And the only reason you're ever going to use that is if you need regeneration in terms of mana or health, which he didn't there. What he would have done is gone to pick up a quick item or two, maybe some more wards as well. Very strange to use a 750 gold teleport just to pick up some wards, but that's important.
I guess.
Well, map control in the jungle area where they're all stood now, right? The ward placement that's there from the sentry, it's key to knowing about rotations from mid to the left-hand side. Not only that, they can set up a potential gank on the rotation coming through. So controlling that vision area is actually monumental in the grand scheme. 750 gold worth, not so sure, but it is an important part.
All right, Hindu Man, you sold me.
Okay.
You sold me pretty hard on that.
Yeah.
All right, and you know what?
The one thing about Smite that's so key that a lot of people don't realize, there's so many little intricate things that even as casters you don't normally get a chance to really mention.
Yeah.
Because like one little misplaced ward can like be a difference between a kill and you dying instead.
So I wasn't down with it, but with the easy gold fury that Novus Orsa was able to go ahead and pick up, I think I'm a little bit more on the side now. Okay.
It's not the greatest call in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but the ward coverage is very important.
Usually the way you want to see that relic or that ritual used is the team will go ahead and fight up against a Phoenix, let's say, and then they suffer losses. So you go back to base, you lick your wounds, you re-heal, and then you buy that ritual and come back into the battle. That winds up kind of really shortening those sieges.
Now, we've spoken about it off air before, but I'm going to say it on air as well. I am going to predict we will see some drop ships of teleports happening this year.
Yeah.
Old Yarna-style drop ships towards the Titan. We're going to see 4 or 5-man teleports to it. Like an Apollo will fly in with his whole team, then teleporting to him, and they're going to look for a back door. Hopefully it goes wrong and we see one big Kraken.
I mean, so
you can do it.
It breaks on combat, right?
But if you're all in base waiting for the Apollo to land and then just teleport to him, what's wrong? It's a viable thing, man. I'm predicting it.
Sure.
It'll happen in one game somewhere, for sure. If it does, tweet at me.
Probably in some low-ranked game or something.
So aggro's games?
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
You set me up, man. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do as a chairman. Blink from Ducky, though, looking for the Fearless in mid. You're only going to find onto rebound, but the Kraken hits 2. Not enough for a kill yet. Cancel that. Half Devil's dead.
Novus Orsa serving it up just the way we did to each other. And there's trouble for Ducky on the backside. Fearless looking for the rebound. Can't find it. You ain't bouncing back from that, son. ShadowNightmare gets the kill. 22-11. And ladies and gentlemen, as they shift over to the left-hand side, 3 players are waiting 40 seconds to come back. Novus Orsa not taking the chance.
Got to be careful of Apollo, Deathbringer, as well as 2 crimes and Executioner. He can start shredding at level 19. If they can pick him, though, that'll make a different story. Instead, why not just take the win of all 3 Phoenixes and then look for maybe the Titan if there's still time, which there might well be.
Yeah, the Minotaur's going down to about 90% HP right now. Titan scratch that. Sorry about the old throwback, but here comes FrostiaK. He's a throwback in and of himself. Hestrix in trouble. Fearless power cleave. You done, son? Ducky on top of that one for 23. 25% left on the Titan. Novus Orsa gonna topple it, and Half Devil goes down. FrostiaK is on top of his game. 9-1-11 for the Young Jungle.
A solid game from Novus, but not a good game from Novus, I want to say. Yeah, they got the W, and that's the important thing there.
Yeah.
But there's definitely things they need to clean up going forward. Otherwise, they're going to struggle against some of the other teams. Last-minute monsters on paper, they don't look great. I'm going to be honest, compared to the other rosters, last-minute monsters, their name kind of tells you what kind of team they are.
There were definitely some issues and some hiccups in that game where I think we definitely could have seen Novus Orsa look a little cleaner. ShadowNightmare, though, back to his old tricks, just being the consistent mid laner that you need on this squad. He's able to pick up a couple of kills here on the Poseidon. And like we said, that Fatalis all of a sudden, because it has 10 penetration on it, it's no longer a meme item. There's actual rationale behind going the Fatalis.
Definitely, the Fatalis is a viable option, but generally it's used when you're ahead. If you're actually doing well in the mid lane, you go for the Fatalis.
Sure.
If you are behind, it's still a little bit too risky to do. You're going to need more survivability or just more power overall than just 10 pen and the Fatalis effect.
Big picture, it's not just about fun and games here, folks. Don't forget, this is how teams are making it into the Pro League. We've got 3 teams defending their spots against the incomers, and this is how everybody's looking right now. Cyclone GG on top of it with 6 points. Elevate have 3 along with Novus Orsa and New Game Plus. Last Minute Monsters and Deserted, they're coming up short.
Only Cyclone is really showing their stuff from the previous season, really, and realizing that they've stayed together as a roster. They've continued to grind through the winter period into Season 4.
Yep.
They found a leg up at the start of the season as well, because the difference is you can train for Season 3 all year long, but when Season 4 comes out, if things change, you've got to learn quick and adapt.
A lot of things changing around here. Along with us, we're going to be right back with some new casters for some new matches. Stay tuned to hi-rez TV. We'll be right back.